So my video yesterday was about punctured batteries and the dangers of punctured electric vehicle batteries. What's the danger of normal electric batteries? I keep seeing these fires all over the place. I saw somebody who had a battery storage system and it had exploded as it was coming out, blew his patio doors off. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off!
I might cut Michael Caine in saying that.
We've been concerned about the use of second life EV batteries for a while, and this story highlights why. Explosion caused by battery damage. The explosion of a battery at a residential home in Arriach on Friday afternoon is due to damage or manipulation triggered. A 34-year-old man saw that the battery he had put in the living room started smoking and wanted to take it outdoors. There was an explosion. The man was seriously injured. The 34-year-old is a craftsman and had ordered Tesla batteries online, which he wanted to upgrade for his photovoltaic plant. The individual cells are gathered in a plate, approximately in size 30 by 50 centimeters. However, the batteries were defective and remained in the living room in the meantime until they had to be disposed of. On Friday afternoon, they started smoking after a bang. The man lifted her up to carry her out, then it exploded. The intensity of the detonation was so strong that the terrace door was ripped out of the anchor and thrown into the garden. Cause of the explosion: manipulation on the battery. The Crampton State Criminal Office had taken over the cause investigation in cooperation with BVS County and colleagues of the locally responsible police Arriach. The cause of the explosion was mechanical damage or investigating manipulation on the car battery. Whoever caused this mechanical damage manipulation is still under criminal police investigation. The criminal police investigations were taken over by the Crampton State Criminal Office Fire Explosion Investigation. That was the story. This is it translated into English. Explosion caused by battery damage. The explosion of a battery on Friday afternoon in a residential house in Arriach was triggered by damage or manipulation. A 34-year-old man noticed that the battery he had placed in the living room started to smoke and tried to take it outside. That's when the explosion occurred and the man was seriously injured. The 34-year-old is a hobbyist and had ordered Tesla batteries online, which he wanted to convert for use in his photovoltaic system. The individual cells were combined in a panel about 30 by 50 centimeters in size. However, the batteries were defective and were temporarily left in the living room until they could be disposed of. That sounds like he's got sound judgment, and when we get further down it has to be questioned. On Friday afternoon they began to smoke after a loud bang. The man picked them up to carry them outside, which triggered the explosion. The force of the blast was so strong that the patio door was ripped from the frame and thrown into the garden. A neighbour heard explosions and calls for help. The explosion and the injured man's cries for help alerted his neighbour, Marcus Muller, who is also the local fire chief. Well, that was lucky. He ran to the house and immediately initiated the emergency response, also starting to extinguish the fire. Two other neighbours, who were also firefighters, joined in and cared for the injured man. The 34-year-old suffered severe burns and was airlifted to Graz Regional Hospital after receiving first aid. He is in stable condition and in intensive care. He underwent surgery last night, and not for the last time, according to the treating doctors. He suffered third-degree burns. Seriously injured man rescues his snakes. Perhaps he should have just done that, got his snakes and got out of the house, instead of trying to carry the flipping exploding battery out. The volunteer fire department in Arriach responded with 20 personnel. Commander Muller said flames were coming out of the house. What was this, a panel 30 by 50 centimeters in size? The volunteer fire department in Arriach responded with 20 personnel. Commander Muller said flames were coming out of the house and the patio door, including its frame, had been blown outside, which he managed to rescue from the terrarium and hand over to Muller despite his injuries. I bet Muller was pleased. The batteries were cooled in a water bath by the fire department. A team with breathing apparatus carried out firefighting inside the house. The residential building sustained significant property damage. Explosion caused by battery tampering. This is what I said in my video yesterday. It would appear that any structural damage to the battery pack just leaves it as an accident waiting to happen. It can go off at any time. If it's punctured the casing, you know, all bets are off. The Carinthia State Criminal Police Office took over the investigation into the cause in cooperation with BVS Carinthia and local police in Afrits. The cause of the explosion was determined to be mechanical damage or tampering with the car battery. The investigation is still ongoing to determine who caused this damage or manipulation. The criminal investigation is being handled by the Carinthia State Criminal Police Office's Fire and Explosion Investigation Unit. I mean, it just doesn't bear thinking about. What you've got to remember is there could be people like Marcus the Snake Man here living next to you or in the flat downstairs. It just doesn't bear thinking about. This is just beyond belief, it really is. I've got to be honest, it's a good job cats have 9 lives, because otherwise these lithium batteries are going to do for them. Couple lose everything as exploding lithium battery destroys flat. The fire is believed to be caused by the failure of a lithium battery which Ken was using to heat a hot tub. A mother who pulled her partner from the flames after a lithium battery exploded in his face has said she will never forget his screams of "save me" as fire destroyed their house. Joanne Davis, 45, who works in retail, and her partner Ken, a 46-year-old former store manager, were settling down for the evening at their flat in Barking, London, when she suddenly heard a loud bang from the next room where Ken slept in the early hours of October the 3rd. When the mother of 2 opened her door, she heard Ken shouting, "Joe, save me," and she could see flames everywhere, with sparks shooting out like fireworks from his room. She managed to open the door and pull Ken from the flames of the room on the 6th floor, and after calling the emergency services, around 60 firefighters attended, along with police, ambulance crews and London's air ambulance, and 50 people were led to safety from the Mizzen Street property. Joan's son, Lewis Pearson, 24, said the couple have lost everything in the fire. Their possessions, their home, and their precious cats, Toby and Tilly. As I said, cats don't do well in these lithium battery stories, and Ken remains in hospital with 7% burns and damage to his chest and lungs from inhaling toxic vapour from the explosion. London Fire Brigade has said the fire is being treated as accidental, and it is believed to have been caused by the catastrophic failure of a lithium battery, which Ken was using to heat a hot tub he had made for their roof terrace, and was being charged in his room when the fire occurred. The night of the explosion, the fire, is a night I will never forget, Joan told PA Real Life. It all happened in minutes, from the noise and the piercing screams of Ken screaming for me to save him because he thought he was going to die. In 10 minutes, everything changed our home forever. Our cats have been lost and we will never get over this. Lewis explained his mother Joan and stepfather Ken kept a large, reputable lithium battery inside their flat, which was being charged in Ken's bedroom on the night the explosion took place and used to heat their outdoor hot tub. LFB said, "Lithium batteries store a significant amount of energy in a very small space and are much more powerful compared to other types of batteries, and if that energy is released in an uncontrolled way, or if there is overheating, crushing, penetrating or overcharging, then a fire or explosion may result." Lewis said the explosion blew out the window and left a flat covered in soot, and along with the fire destroying the couple's possessions, they've lost their cats, Toby and Tilly, who were their best friends. Ken's room is basically just a shell of a room. It's all black and everything's gone. It's literally just a black room, he continued. My mum's room opposite has got a lot of water damage and smoke damage. And on top of that, the whole flat is just covered in soot. Everything is just dark, there's no colour. Lewis explained that Ken has suffered burns to his face and arms due to his proximity to the explosion. His chest wall has been damaged and the bottom of his lungs have collapsed. He's opened his eyes a couple of times, but other than that, they're keeping him pretty heavily sedated in hospital. A spokesman for B&D Reside, the landlord, said, "Our thanks go to the emergency services and our thoughts are with those affected. Our team is working alongside partners to support the residents affected. We reiterate and support the Fire Brigade's advice about the precautions needed in relation to lithium batteries. I'm afraid they need banning.